Hello and welcome to the Space Bros, new podcast. Actually, it's just redefining our podcast, man. Welcome into the Space Bros, a subsidiary podcast of the Gray Space Network. I'm working on the intro. I don't have one yet. That's the best as I got now.
No, you was all good, but you hit him with that hello. You know what I mean?
Hello. I'm working on the intro,
it's
bro.
All good. Yeah, we gotta tweak some things out, but it's all good, man. Welcome into the Space Bros podcast. This is going to be similar to the Gray Space podcast, but it's just going to be us. Mm-hmm. We're going back to the original way of the way that we did things.
Yeah.
You stuttering, I'm stuttering, everybody's stuttering. The original way that we did things, and we're just going to talk about topics, man. And I think going forward, we're going to definitely look for you guys' input as to what we talk about. But before we do anything, make sure you subscribe to become part of the tribe. Do us right. Hit that like and comment if you are rocking with the content. Now, I want to get into
By the way, this is before we get started with anything.
Oh yeah.
This is episode 100 for us.
This is 100.
So now if you go on to Apple, it's weird because
hold on, man.
Okay, my bad. What?
It's episode 100, man.
Episode
Cheers,
100. Cheers, man.
Cheers, brother. I'm taking a sip. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's take a sip together.
Shout out to Jackrabbit Java as well, man. Providing us with the fire drinks. That citrus on the beach. If you're ever off the I-10 in Jackrabbit, south of the I-10, pull up on Jackrabbit Java, man.
They'll be part of the Gray Space podcast here coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, we're working some things out.
We're working out the date.
Shout out to Jackrabbit Java. Go ahead, man.
We're working out the date.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Good interruption, though. This is episode 100.
100.
If you go look on Apple Podcasts, it says this will be like 101.
Right.
Whatever. I don't know why one is skipped on Apple Podcasts, but everywhere else, it's on point. This will be actually episode 100 because episode 2 is our very first episode that they put. I don't know why it's that way. I don't know. I have no idea.
But this is 100. This is
100.
officially 100.
And we wanted to do it just with you and me.
And start a whole new wave. Get back kind of to the original way we did things. We will still be having the Gray Space interviews, so to speak, the Gray Space podcast, which will feature nothing but interviews from artists, filmmakers, just people that are dope at what they do.
Of course, yeah.
And we are going to continue that. And so definitely be on the lookout for that. Definitely be on the lookout for the What You Heard reviews, spotlights the What You Heard series, where we're going to be just talking about music. We're going to dive into movies a little bit more, games a little bit more. So I know we got some things going on and maybe some things you guys don't necessarily, love as much as the other ones. But if you have a chance, check out everything we got.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Pull up. You feel me?
Pull up, man.
Pull up.
Yeah, man. So thank you guys for rocking with us this whole time too. Man. And I know, I said this, I think the last podcast that, there's certain people that actually do like just you and me talking about certain topics and stuff like that. So that's why we wanted to bring that kind of back around because we kind of pushed that off to the side for a while, man. Almost a year. Yeah. It's been almost a year. I mean, we did one last week, obviously. Yeah. But we are kind of rebranding this, just you and me tandem, and that's why we called it the Space. It'll be the Space Bros podcast.
That's who we are, man. The Space Bros, man. Zeke and Dre, man.
So
yeah, man. Let's get into it, man. What you got? Anything off the top of the dome?
I don't have anything off the top of my dome. I do want to kind of go through some of our old podcasts, though. I kind of want to go through the list, kind of where we started, and kind of going back from number one. I got to pull out my phone, obviously.
I'm like, man.
So I pulled it up earlier, and I was looking at it, man. And
way back.
Very cool, very interesting, Hey, what are we doing here? Don't play it. Don't play it. I just want to see the list. Can we get to the list, please?
You over here playing music.
Man.
You can't get to the list, bro. Yeah, you
it
can.
will not pull up the list for me, man. And I just pulled it up.
I
Like,
got it right here, bro.
yeah, you do.
I do. Hold on. Stay with us.
There we go. I got
Stay
it.
with
I
us.
got
See
it.
y'all.
See y'all and scroll all the way down.
That's crazy, man.
Episode 1. What if sports didn't exist? Man?
What if sports didn't exist, man?
Yeah, man. That is so funny. I know we talked about it before, but before we got to the first episode, we recorded what, 2, 3,
2 or 3,
and we scrapped them. You know, we just didn't like the way it came out. The way
and one of them, man, we was definitely
sipping too much.
we was on the sauce.
Yeah. I think that was the second one, if I'm not mistaken, man.
was
The second one
for
was
sure.
we were all over I don't even remember even remotely what that one was about. The first one wasn't too bad. We were actually kind of excited about it. Then we went back and listened to it and we were like, oh, we could do better than that.
Yeah.
You know, so we went back and then obviously the second one we were like, oh, that's even worse. We got too saucy on that. we took a step backwards.
Way too saucy, man.
And then we decided it was like, I think we decided early on, you were like, I don't want to know what question you have or anything.
Yeah.
And you were like, just blindside me.
Yeah,
and I was like,
pull
okay.
up- pull up
And that's
with the
where what if sports didn't exist? That's where that came from. And I'm not sure what made me think about that back in the day. That was 2019, man.
Yeah.
November of 2019.
Yeah.
So November 3rd, 2019 is when we published it.
That's
so
crazy. And it's crazy because shortly after that, the pandemic hit.
yeah.
And sports literally did not exist.
That was weird. Not too short after that either.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
it
Because
wasn't
you're
too
talking
long.
March of 2020 when
Yeah, it
everything
wasn't
really
too
kind of
long.
shut down.
It
You
wasn't
know?
too long. And for those who don't know and for those who remember, we started basically what you heard as part of the Gray Space podcast. So we was pulling up with the topics, and we were talking about we were reviewing.
Yeah, we were doing reviews at the end of this.
the end of the podcast.
And we finally pulled that out.
We finally pulled-
and
yeah.
made it its own show. You know, and we
Yeah.
called it at the beginning. I've been going through those too. I got some cool clips for you guys. Stay tuned to TikTok, Instagram, all that kind of good stuff, man.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I got
yeah.
some good clips coming up. It just takes a while to go through all your old stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So I've been going through all the what you heard, and we called it the Gray Space Reviews.
Yeah, that's
that was
all it
what we
was.
did it for about, I would say about 4 episodes. I think was what, if I remember correctly, how long we did the what you heards as the Gray Space Reviews. And then obviously, because I was doing what you heard at that point, I was doing a show called What You Heard, which you guys will never see again. If you guys haven't seen them, sorry you guys missed out. I pulled them all off of YouTube. And it wasn't because I didn't like them. It kind of hurt to kind of pull those down, but I was so sick and tired of the copyright strikes that we kept getting from them. You know, because it would be sometimes later on too that somebody else was getting a little bit bigger that I put on there, and then it'd be like, "Hey, you got a copyright strike on this video," yada yada. And I was like, "All right, well, enough of that." And that's what I love that show. I loved doing that
Might
show.
bring it back in some type of capacity. You know what I'm saying?
I really did love doing that show, man.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and it
Yeah.
was almost like a radio show in a sense, you know.
Yeah, it was like a countdown special. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
And every genre
like
too.
a TRL.
I took every genre too. I did not hold back on anything, man.
Nah, you was really in there pulling up with the genres.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because I remember even people going in going, I would have never listened to that if you didn't put that
That's a
on there.
fact.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
a
And
fact. A lot of our album reviews at that time were coming from that. It was like, oh man, that's dope.
Right,
Let's
you're
check that one out. Yeah, I'm watching the show, calling you like, hey man, that
Yeah.
third one, we doing that
was
one.
fire.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
And obviously it just evolved into the What You Heard reviews, and then now Spotlight's probably our newest one, which we just kind of started doing
man.
this year in 2022, where we that's more of our EP and single, just in case you guys don't know or you want to check that out. They're a little bit smaller, bite size. They're not as long as our reviews.
Yeah, we just gonna spotlight some dope stuff that we like. You know what I'm saying, that we think y'all should be rocking with. So
there will definitely be more spotlights coming up too. By
For
the way,
sure, for sure,
because
for sure,
albums
for sure.
have been really slow this year.
yeah.
And you know,
shout
you
out
and I
to-
were
shout out
talking
to
about it,
Lucky,
and we were
man.
like, man, we got to do more spotlights.
Yeah.
Just we got to do more singles and more EPs because people are dropping those, man.
We got to hit the streets, man, with what we think.
And music is music, right? Like we love projects. Like if you listen to any of our shows, any of them, we say it on the podcast. We say it everywhere. Right? We're like, man, we love projects. But man, a good song is a good song. Or a good EP is a good EP. So
that's a fact.
We definitely wanted to put a spotlight on those.
Yeah, man. I think going back to the podcast, and we've talked about this before, but just it being something that at the time, I mean, obviously we were starting at a time that podcasts were kind of were really becoming more popular. But then with the the event of the pandemic in the last 3 years, and obviously podcasts have become, I kind of joked about this. The podcast have almost become the new SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh, you a SoundCloud rapper? Like, oh, you do it. Oh, okay, everybody does a podcast. You know what I mean? And I think what I love is that we never stopped. You know what I'm saying? We never quit. We never gave up. We're not where we want to be, but we've definitely grown a lot. We've gotten better. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Definitely a lot more smooth than like before. It was like super choppy. You know what I'm saying? Like we were like, okay, what's next? You know what I'm saying? So
I think the biggest thing, to be straight up with you guys is we used to be very formulaic when it came to doing a podcast. And
sure.
I don't, there are podcasts out there that are very, let's say like story based, you know what I'm saying? Like murder mystery type of stuff, books and, those types of things where you kind of have to be formulaic and stuff like that. And we did that for a while. Like if you go back and you listen, or if you guys watch, however you guys consume our podcast, if you go back, you could hear the formulaic approach that we took
for
to
sure,
it, right?
For sure.
And it did work for a while, and I think it was good for us to grow that way. Like we really figured out, okay, this is cool, but it's not really for us.
Yeah.
And then it was that we were still doing topics, right? Just you and me.
Right.
But it was more, okay, now you wanted to know, what are we talking about this week? What are we doing? Let me think about what we're going to, and then it became this back and forth more of what we got used to, right?
Yeah.
And really getting the cues from each other, and learning from each other, right?
Yeah.
And it's been really freeing to do it that way,
Yeah, man. I think the more comfortable you become in doing something, right? Like, if you're a basketball player, me and my sports analogies. If you're a basketball player, football player, if you're in sports, you practice. You do the same thing over and over and over and over again, so that when you get into a game, you're comfortable being able to kind of flow within the game. And then you might add a little sauce to it, because it's like, I already know I can bust this move right here, but if I hit him with this, you know what I'm saying, and bust this move, watch this, you know what I'm saying? And even just going back to the podcast, bro, like, I think it was a great thing for us, man. Like, really, man, if anybody has a chance to go and check out our earlier episodes, whether it's audio on Apple, Spotify, pretty much everywhere you can get your podcast, or whether it's through YouTube, on the Gray Space Network page. If you guys go check out some of our early ones, we really attacked a lot of issues, you know what I'm saying, early on, because we were going through, real world shit that had never, I wouldn't say never, but we had never endured, you know what I'm saying? This was our generation's shit that we had to go through. This was our lifetime. Everybody has something. It was Spanish flu, it's war, it's whatever, right? And it just seemed like 2020 was a chili pot, so to speak, of shit, right? It was a stew of shit. You know what I'm saying? And you go back and I'm looking here, man, and
I can't remember what our first video one was, though, dude. I know.
First video.
I want to say it was Importance of Communication was our first one. So it'd be episode 9, basically. So our first 8 episodes, if I remember correctly.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So our first. So if you guys want to go listen to our first,
I feel like that was the first.
Yeah, our first 8 are audio only. We have 0 video. Now, if you go watch our video, we've come a long way in that department too. We old
trash.
Hey, but you know what? Again, we learned from that, right?
Yeah.
We were like, how do we do this, right? So, I would hope that anybody, if you have like even a phone, right, and you guys want to get started making any kind of content,
doing anything, man.
Just take something, even if your phone's 5-6 years old, you know, record it, see how it goes, right? And I think that was really important for us to get into that mode of, all right, and we had the camera. You know, you guys can't see, but there was like back in this corner over here, and we were still kind of in the same room, you know, but we were in chairs, and
we had no backdrop.
No backdrop. I mean, you had some of the pictures and stuff.
Marks on the wall and shit. But Sandy was hitting us with that. Get that goddamn mark off the wall.
Yeah, she was. Yes, she was. Anyways, but yeah, man, go listen to those first 8. Those are interesting, and then
check out our earlier ones, man.
Yeah,
about
that's very interesting.
Mental health, social media, and what it means today.
Yeah,
you know, and that's still even important 2 years later after we dropped that episode. I mean, we could still talk about that right now.
By the way, we'll probably spin the block on some of these.
We're gonna definitely spin the block on a lot of stuff, man.
I really liked our conversations that we had about the communication, and I think one of my favorite ones, just from memory, is the relations and relationships that we were talking about, right? And it wasn't really like sexual relationships; it was just relationships with other people,
man, friends,
and I really liked
whatever.
that conversation because we touched on so many different bases of just interacting with people, right?
Right,
and just treating people with respect, right? You know, and treating them like human beings, right? And I think that's what came out of because it's a part 1 and a part 2 of that, because we had a lot to say about that.
We had a lot to say about a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
But yeah, it was some very interesting conversations.
I got a question for you, bro.
Yeah.
And it not really as it pertains to us, but like, when you see the podcast game now, like, okay, first of all, what do you think of the word podcast? Because, you know, I feel like it's, like I said, it's kind of become like the SoundCloud of,
right.
It's like, you got a podcast. Everybody got a podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I don't think there's any way to change that. And I want to say, if you guys hear any background noise, you know what I'm saying, it's a little happenings going on at the Brizzle right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So don't worry about it. It's all good. We having fun over here. But what do you think about that word? Do you feel negative about it? Do you feel positive about it?
I don't feel positive. I could tell you that about it.
You don't feel positive. Okay.
But I don't feel negative either.
Okay, it's kind of is what it is.
Well, it is, right? And I think it is kind of overused.
It is,
you know,
overused.
And that's with everything. Everything in our society, everything gets overused and beaten over the head. You know, if anything is popular, it just keeps, you know, saying it and saying it and saying it. I mean, we don't even really call our. We said it. We say show. We'll say podcast. You know what I'm saying? Sure. But we always say, you know, we intro the show. Welcome into the gray space. Yep. You know, we never really say podcast. Yeah. Like, but that means something to us though. Like, welcome into the gray space. Yep. Like, you're part of this interaction that we're having, especially with the guests. You know what I'm saying? For sure. And even back when you and I were doing it, the conversation was happening also when people were listening and watching it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we actually had, I think, a little bit more feedback from when it was just you and me as well. For sure. You know, I think people were a little bit more engaged with
into the conversation
because they were interesting and very important conversations. For sure. Right? And people had some stuff to say about stuff. Yeah. You know, especially the communication, the mental health ones. Yeah. Like the positive energy one that we did. Yeah. Like we were getting like interesting feedback from those. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. People had something to say about that. Like, oh, you guys forgot to talk about this. And we're like, oh yeah, we did. You know, that's right. Yeah. You know, but you're doing this and then you say something, I say something, and then we kind of were bouncing off of each other, and then your brain kind of loses track of certain things that you wanted to hit on, because I know we would all the time we'd be done and then we'd be like, man, I forgot to say this.
Even with the interviews, you know,
yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
true.
Just, you know, forget to ask a question or whatever. But kind of a two parts to that. What do you think of kind of today, the state of podcasts in general today? Because for me personally, obviously, we told this story, but for the people who don't know, maybe it's your first time or you haven't seen or heard this story from when we told it. You know, I wasn't really for doing a podcast. I was doing music. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something that I was looking forward to doing. It was kind of a new idea at the time. You know what I'm saying? It hadn't blown up to the fact of, you know, now everybody's doing it. Everybody's trying to host a show, whatever. And so I was for it, but it was like, yeah, all right, let's try it out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I've obviously grown to, you know, I'm telling you about new podcasts.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't even listen to music that much no more. I know.
I think you listen to podcasts way more than I do. I think the roles have reversed.
Kind of reversed
at this point, right?
Like, but what do you think? What do you think of the state of podcasts, and where are you at personally with podcasts?
So for me, I've kind of taken a backseat to podcasts a little bit, and there's no particular reason why. Okay. It's not like I don't want to listen to a podcast. Oh, right. It's not that. It's, you know, and it's I'm just not in that mind state right now. Mm-hmm. So my mind state is and has been for a little bit, and it's driving me nuts that music is not really prevalent right now. Like, it's just, to me, it's kind of dead in a sense. Yes, people are releasing stuff, but everything sounds the same to me right now, and nothing sounds original. So it's kind of frustrating. I still listen to podcasts though. I just don't listen as much as I did about probably when we were deep into the pandemic, because I had more time. Right.
Yeah. It was
like, because I was working, but I was working really just minimally. Right. And then I think that was the transition of me kind of moving a little bit out of the podcast zone. I also think I moved out of the podcast zone a little bit too, because I'm in it and I don't want to be almost, what's the correct word I want to use? Like, I don't want to copy anybody either. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I will watch some and I'll be like, oh man, that's really cool. I want to do that. And then I have to take my mind out of that and be like, okay, that's not your show. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that people will do. And I think that we can learn from that, right? And kind of spin it if we wanted to do something. Right. Like, for instance, we want to take questions from our audience one of these days, right? We won't really want to do that. Like, so it would just be you and me. And it would be a Space Bros show, right? And we would have like a Q&A, you know, so you guys send in a question once a month or something like that. You know, we talked about that, and I would love to do that. Right. You know, and I've seen people do that. How many people have you seen do that? A lot.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's necessarily stealing, right? Because everybody kind of does it. But I mean, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to be part of the crowd either. But I think for me, bro, it's like, I watch podcasts because for two reasons. One, I'm a lover of interviews, and I love great interviews. I love stories, and that's why I was like, when we started this, I was like, I love talking to you, but I really want to get guests on. You know what I'm saying? I want to dive into their stories, right? And we've always been big advocates of that. You know, anybody who's ever been on the show can attest to that, is that we've literally been like, this is not about us. We are not here to make ourselves look good. This is all about you. We honestly want to know your story. And so I watch interviews for that. You know what I'm saying? I watch podcasts, and I also watch them as education, man, as research. You know, to your point, I don't mind kind of stealing.
I know you're in that mind zone.
I don't mind kind of stealing, not to a point of like, I'm going to do what you do. But I think, like, again, here I go with another sports analogy, right? Like, if you're a kid coming up and you're playing ball, you're always going to model yourself after your favorite player. So if your favorite player is Michael Jordan, or if your favorite player is LaDainian Tomlinson as a running back, or if your favorite player is Randy Moss, you're going to emulate and imitate a lot of those things and then just sprinkle in your own sauce. Like, a lot of people gave Kobe a lot of flack because they were like, well, all he did was he did what MJ did. I'm like, yeah, he did it, and he still had, he put his own sauce in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Kobe was like, there was a week stretch where he was scoring over 40.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, Mike was cold. He wasn't going a week stretch scoring over 40. Like, Kobe was nasty, and it was because he was able to take a lot of Jordan's game and what he did. But why would you not want to take somebody that's dope and be like, oh, that works, so I'm going to use that in my repertoire. I'm still going to do me.
Right.
And I agree with, I get your point, but that's where I'm at with podcasts. Like, I watch it and I'm like, I'm studying, man. Go ahead.
And I think I leave that to you, though.
Yeah.
Because I think I think it's good that I don't see what you're seeing, in the sense of, because you'll call me and you'll say, hey, so I saw this.
Right.
And you'll give me like a general premise of what is happening. Right. But I haven't seen it, so I'm just getting it from your brain and your perspective.
Right.
But then I start thinking about it differently because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So I think it actually works that we don't necessarily watch the same podcast too. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the Pivot. For me, man, shout out to the Pivot. Shout out to the People's Party. Those are my two go-tos. I love the Pivot, man. Shout out to Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor, man. I love that freaking podcast, man. But go ahead.
Daddy Issues with Tony.
Daddy Issues, man. I love Daddy. That's a different one. That's a funnier one.
But I got turned on to that because I like that.
Yeah.
I personally did.
Daddy Issues is hilarious.
I personally did.
Verbal Cardio with Tony Baker is very good as well.
So I want to say this because I was thinking about this while we were talking. I do watch podcasts, but they're usually very serious podcasts.
Okay.
About really serious issues. Right. Social issues and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's just for me to understand. It's not necessarily like the guy I watch is Lex Friedman, right? And he has intellects on, basically, right? People that study in these particular fields, and some of them are kind of goofy in the sense of, I want to say goofy, but like aliens and stuff like that. Like, do you think there's life out there?
Right.
But there's legit like science stuff, about the brain and why we think about things the way we think about them, just as human beings, like why we're caught up in. I love that stuff, man, because it makes me think about other things. Right. And that's where I get the ideas of bringing in topics for, would be for this show.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But I do, that's the Daddy Issues one, though, is such a good break, though, because it's funny and it's hilarious. And I just started watching it. You know what I'm saying? You watched it for a while now.
Yeah, I've been on.
And then you were like, hey, you need to start watching this, man. It's hilarious. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll watch it. I did. It's really funny.
Dudes, man, where I'm suggesting
to
everybody, not just you. I'm like, bro, you got to watch this.
Yeah.
Do you like this? Well, you like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm a walking goddamn ad and commercial, bro. Like, if I got paid 5 cents for everything that I promoted for somebody else, not even on here, like just in the world, man, I'd be fucking a billionaire by now. You know what I'm saying? I'm a walking commercial. Hey, have you ever checked out this?
Yeah. Well,
if you like this,
they do like that.
Welcome to the Air Fryer 9.0. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's me all day, bro.
Yeah.
So, like,
the comedy stuff is pretty good. You know?
Yeah.
I do like that as a break, but
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh, hold on. I want to ask you because I don't know.
Ahead.
I'm not sure you answered the question that you asked me.
Okay.
How do you feel about the name podcast?
Oh. I'm kind of the same way, man. I'm a little bit indifferent about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I like the word show a little bit better because podcast, you know, what is a podcast? Like, you've got live pod. Is that a podcast? Is that a show? You got recorded pod? Like, I remember originally a podcast was a show that was live, that was recorded, and that you could listen to later.
Like a,
so the
like a radio show.
So the original, right? So the original podcasts were like you're listening to Colin Cowherd on the radio,
right,
or on the TV, right? And then they would drop the audio version of that, which we normally wouldn't get, right? Like you had to catch it when it was live. So what they would do was they would record the audio and then throw it on a streaming platform,
right.
ESPN streaming platform. You go on it, back then you just had to go on the web or whatever. And that's what was labeled the podcast. Like that's the original. We go back to what it was. Like the podcast was just an audio listening of a show that was recorded earlier in that day. And normally it was like a talk radio show. Wasn't really, or maybe sometimes it was FM radio and they still had the music on there,
right.
but it was a recording that was later submitted to some type of internet or app, right? So I don't know what a podcast is. I think it's a word that's thrown around a lot, but it's okay. I think I do think it's okay if you're doing a show. If that's what you're going to label your show, and it's not really on TV and it's not on radio, so it's a podcast. That's fine.
Yeah, I get it. And it's like a general term.
It's a general term.
It's almost like a genre of music in a sense. Like
it's a car.
It's just that's it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Now you want to specify, is it a truck?
Right.
Is it a van?
Right. What are we doing? And it's,
you know what I'm saying? Is it a mini SUV?
Right.
Is it an SUV? Is it an extended SUV?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Is it an electric car?
Is it a diesel?
Are we going on long trips in this thing?
Right. What is it? What is
right.
it? You know what I'm saying?
So it's just a very general thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyways. You were going to ask me something.
Man, you made me. I got you. I'll put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Favorite guest
Ooh.
you ever had?
Dude, that is so hard, man.
I'll give you an
That
out.
is
I'll give you
so
an out.
hard.
You can give me a favorite show. Favorite episode we ever did.
Well,
you don't have to do a guess, but you can do a favorite episode.
Okay, so
overall,
I think that's actually two separate things, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Like especially like one of our shows with just you and me is just so different than our interviews.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? And I can answer both. It's really really hard though.
Okay.
You know.
Sorry y'all, I got these mosquito bites, man. Them motherfuckers been out.
Yeah, it's crazy out there, man. And by the way, I wish you guys had smell-o-vision because it smells so good in here right now, dude.
Hey,
I was not hungry. Didn't even think about food when we stepped foot in this.
I haven't slapped the carne asada on yet.
But I don't know whatever's going on over yonder there. It smells delicious, man.
I don't know how we get down to Dre's Creed. You.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. I mean, you ain't got to answer, man.
No. I'm gonna answer
I
it.
was hoping you wouldn't, because then I got to answer. Well, go ahead.
I think my favorite podcast was
favorite episode.
My favorite guest.
Yes,
I'm gonna do guest.
Okay.
And please, this is no. I don't mean this in any.
Yeah, no.
Hate towards anybody else or anything like that.
Not at all, because they were all great.
Was probably, when I really think about it, for me was Aram. The one with Aram. If you guys have not, I would really highly suggest.
Shout out to Aram Chavez, man. Shout out to Aram Chavez. We appreciate that.
Yeah, and I really want to spin the block with him.
We have to.
As a matter of fact, that might be happening kind of soon, especially with the way economics is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What we're going through right now, right?
For
so I think it would be really kind of cool to have him back on, and we could talk about certain things. And I definitely want to get into, like, is it the right time to start a business right now too?
Right.
Like, is the economic, is it good right now or is it not? I legit don't know.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So love to have him back on. And I think the reason why I say that is because even though I was part of that, there was so many gems that he dropped in there for me personally.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just as and I don't listen to a lot of our stuff back, you know, because you edit the episode, right?
Right.
And I'll catch stuff here and there, right? But I typically don't listen to them back that much. So, but I remember a lot of stuff, the front wheel, back wheel type of deal, you know, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like there was so many gems in there to me, dude. Like, but man, I had so many good ones, man. Like Mega Ran, the TJ Supa was amazing, man. Miranda was awesome to have on here, man. Shogun, Rock Knowledge. I mean, dude, we can go down the list. I mean, even our very first ones that we had with True and Diz, bro.
True,
like those were fun, but we didn't know what we were doing at that point. And I want to shout out True and Diz, man, for coming on and actually
kind of sparking the whole thing off, man.
Because
for sure, man.
you know,
shout out to Fetty Brown, man.
Yeah, so because they kind of, in my eyes, they opened the door to that because we were like, let's have them on. Let's have
right.
They're homies. Let's see how this goes.
See how it goes, yeah,
right.
For sure.
And then, oh my God, did we catch the bug when that happened?
Oh yeah.
It was like, who else can we get on?
Yeah.
And then they came on again. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, yeah, shout out to those guys, man. So I would say the Aram one is probably my favorite interview. What's your favorite?
Oh man. It's a lot, man. I would have to say my favorite. You know what, man? I want to say Matt Locks was my favorite. And I'll say Ramses Jaws are close behind that.
Those are all good, man. Yeah.
And I'm talking about, man, there's about every one of our interviews, they're not that far apart. Like they're all on the same line.
Oh, of course they are.
I'm now just picking off the line, right?
Right.
So I'm like, if I close my eyes and named a name, I would still be right. But I thought what was dope with Matt Locks was just the wealth of knowledge in the story and the stories that he had. And when we talked about proof, you know what I'm saying, and that being a real moment, you know what I'm saying, that you know that you don't understand like the magnitude sometimes of like when you're sitting down with somebody and them telling their story. It's like, man, like these are people that we look up to. You know what I'm saying? There's not one person that's been on the show that we don't look up to in some certain way.
Right.
That's a fact. Like we have been excited for everybody, guest.
Man. Yeah.
Sometimes we've been nervous as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Especially early on, dude. Like, because you're like, what the hell?
And so when we got Matt Locks on, and I think the thing with Matt Locks is that we had so many people that were just saying his name. It was like Matt Locks. It was like I was doing this, and then man, shout out to Matt Locks. And I was doing this, and you know, Matt Locks came along, and you know what I'm saying. And so when we were able to sit down with him,
that's
and
true.
just
that
him being
so
you know what I'm saying, so accomplished in the radio industry and the music industry. And he was like so dope, so down to earth. You know what I'm saying, like. And like I said, man, there was just some real moments that we talked about, you know what I mean? And, you know, obviously that's a relationship that I feel like we're going to have forever. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to spin the block with him and do kind of a whole spinoff. You know, he's setting up his DJ and stuff right now. So we're going to pull up on him and kind of, you know, have a live jam session with him, dig through the crates and all that. But yeah, man, like, you know, just that was dope, man. But then you go to the Ramses Jaws of the world, you know what I'm saying? Rocky Tyree, like doing stuff with my brothers too, like with guys that I've known for a long time. Man. Like recently we had Med, recently we had, you know, Rocky, you know what I'm saying? J20, my guy, my brother.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like these are like when I say these are my brothers, like these are my friends, you know what I'm saying? Like we done been in the, maybe not as deep as they've been in the trenches with other people, but definitely like I done rock with these dudes for 15 years, you know what I'm saying? 13 years, like, so that's been dope because, I mean, we just recently found out that like Med and Rocky was the early on.
I know,
I had
crazy.
no idea.
That was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy to find out.
Finding cool stuff about cool stuff out about your friends is dope too. So
yeah,
you know, but definitely Aram is up there. Dr. TJ Davis, you know what I'm saying, was one of my favorites. You know, just sitting down with an established historian, lawyer, you know what I'm saying, civil rights like activist, you know what I mean, and just listening, just having to really, I hate to use the word humble because of what it really means, but to kind of sit back,
right,
and be in a state of learning,
right,
and sit back and just let him tell his piece. Like that was I think that was one of my most nervous moments, and it was our only Zoom one.
Right. That'd be the only thing that bothered me about that was the Zoom thing, right? But it was actually a really good episode. If you guys go watch it or listen to it, fascinating, man. Like sure. Where he came from and what he was doing and what he was fighting for, what he's still kind of fighting for, even though he's an older man and older gentleman doing. It's just amazing. I mean. Dude, like I said, it's so hard to choose, right? Because, even our recent ones, you know what I'm saying? Like the TJ2 Cools, the Tyreek,
man, was a great story. You know
my God, dude, sure. Like we've done, it's crazy.
We forget, and you know what? I want to say this name too because this was a dope interview to me. Was Bag of Tricks, man? Was Felix.
Bag of Tricks was amazing.
Amazing. Like that.
And Fat Belly Films, dude.
Shout out to Fat Belly. And I think the dope thing that shout out to DJ Odd too, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Two Tone, man. I think what the dope thing is that not only did we get these people on, but shout out to our guy Miranda. What Dave has done, what he was doing before that interview, and what he's done since then, and to have them on, and then them talk about these things that they're not only doing, but they want to do, and then to see the shit come to life. I don't think people know how much fans we are of the people that we have on. And most of them are in our phones.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Shout out to Lost Perception, right? He's right down the street from you, boy.
Yeah.
And I talk to him at least once a month, every couple of weeks. His story with the Boss Posse, right? And him talking about that. There's been so many great stories, man, that I just, So I close my eyes and Matlock's. That's my and it is one that I really go back to and I love.
Yeah, for sure. And so you were just between you and me, right? The ones just that we did, right? Episode? It's crazy. I just got to name a couple of these real quick, man.
Okay.
Because it's positive and negative of social media. Failure equals success.
Yeah.
Right? The future in robots, man. Respecting legends, 90s music's influence. Importance of communication, mental health. Kobe Bryant, we did one on, dude.
Yeah.
All the Black History Month.
All the Black History Month ones.
There's 8 of those episodes.
Yeah.
8 episodes of those that we really did research and kind of found out about some
change and growth, man. Change and growth.
Positive and negative energy, dealing with fear. Do you think, change and growth, is reality even real? Song lyrics versus Bible.
Where we're at. Those were some deep ones, man.
The effects of music. Some of our favorite quotes. Advancements in technology.
Foundation and pain.
Common
sense is very uncommon,
dude. So we had going back and looking at these. That is crazy.
Run.
But I will say this because I already said it kind of towards the top of the show, and I think my favorite was the relationships one because and it could even kind of be communication because everything kind of boils down to those two types of things, right?
For sure.
And it's not saying that you have to like everybody, but it's just. I think the importance of just treating everybody humanly, right?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what came out of both of those. In communication falls under everything.
Everything.
It's every issue you ever really talk about, man. It's everything.
Relationships.
It's everything, man. So I just really liked that relationship one, and that
in the where we're at that 3-part series.
We took a long time, by the way, and I think we said it in that very first Where You're At part 1. We waited. We took some time. We didn't want to rush out and just immediately
jump off the cliff.
Just do an episode. Because I remember we were at your mom's house and we were having, it was like a Sunday or something like that, and we were just barbecuing, and while everything was going on, went swimming and all that kind of stuff, and you and I talked about it. We were in the pool we were swimming in the pool, man, and we were just like, nah, we gotta wait. This isn't the time yet.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little too fresh. We both had stuff to say, but it was like, well, let's think about this more clearly.
Yeah.
Right. And I think
sure.
that was so important. And there's something that we say constantly to this day, right? And that is timing is everything.
Timing is everything. And you gotta let shit marinate,
you
man.
You have to. Sometimes you want to talk about something.
You gotta.
You know, but it's almost sometimes it's like, wait, hold on, let's just wait a second.
You gotta recalculate.
Yeah. So
you gotta look at something, man. Sometimes you don't know what you're looking at.
Right. Yeah. Well, sometimes it
seems so clear, but you're like,
well, sometimes it's so noisy, right?
It's so, yeah, exactly. So
there's so much noise going on, right? You gotta have to let that
like
noise
that's the curtain
simmer down
behind you. But
yeah.
if there's a whole lot of shit going on in that curtain, I'm like, man, why is it? What? There's a circle. What? Yeah. Oh, it's shapes. Well, that don't look like it. Then you look at it, you're like, but that's not even a shape. That's just a blob or something. You know what I'm saying? So like you gotta really look at stuff. And I've always been, you know, maybe I've preached it more than I've even practiced it. I think I'm trying to practice it more now. But let shit marinate. Step away from a situation, even if it's a situation you're involved in. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a dispute or if it's a great situation that you're about to go into, or like if something great is happening in your life and you're not sure. Yes, let it sit back on it for a day.
Right.
Think about it. Think about the possibilities, and then do what you need to do.
I think there's nothing wrong with that either, too, man. I mean, there are
you can
choices,
jump when you need to jump.
Yeah, there are choices that you might have to make immediately. Yeah. Right? And that need immediate attention, right? But most of the time, though, I would have to say most of the time, a large percentage of the time, I think that is not the case. I think if somebody says something to you, no matter who and what it is, right? Or don't react to it. Just think about what they said, right? Because, I mean, you might have to have follow-up questions, obviously. Where are you coming from with that? What do you mean by that? Whatever, right? Think about it. I mean, there's even times, even stupid stuff between you and me, right? Like, hey, about the show or something, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Okay. I'll let you know later. I don't know. You know, because you've thought about it, obviously, for a day or whatever, or at least a good portion of that day.
Right.
Cool, you thought about that. I haven't really thought about that yet. I like the idea, but let me think about how that works.
It's just me and you. Yeah, we need that 24
but then there's
hours.
other more serious situations, obviously, where you
sure.
sit back and you go, hold on a second.
For sure.
I see that, but let me
marinate.
I have to think about this because there are different roads and avenues to that.
You can't just pull out the steak and just season it, slap it on the grill. Yes, you can. But it's better when it's marinated. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Period. Yeah, you're right.
I said period. You know what I mean? Period. You know? You feel me?
But yeah, that's so true, man. And I love this, man. I love you know,
we be doing this shit on a regular. Like a lot of people, we've said this, but like we do this shit with no cameras, no mics.
All the time.
All the time. We be talking about crazy shit.
Oh, crazy stuff. You had a whole dream the other day about
about bears.
Bears and stuff.
about severance and bears.
Oh, man.
We're not going to get into that. You know
but yeah, baby. The bears are coming to get you, man. The bears are coming to get everybody, man. Watch out. You got a couple pistols? Man. We might need them, man.
We got 25 Samoans, bears, and severance.
Oh, man, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, we have conversations that all the time. And obviously we wanted to bring it to this table to the table that's over at my crib. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot what this feels like. Because we did one, obviously, you guys will see the one before you see this.
You better.
You know?
You better have watched it.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. This is fun to do, man. This is really fun to do.
So I want to say this, man, as we kind of round off this episode, man. The first official kind of episode of Space Bros, in a sense, but our 100th episode as the Gray Space. I want to say, bro, I appreciate you first and foremost. I appreciate all the listeners. We appreciate all the listeners. We appreciate everybody who's watched. We appreciate everybody who's subscribed, unsubscribed, subscribed again, whatever. And we do, and I said this last time, and on all of our shows, we value so much of your feedback. Like, again, sometimes we don't necessarily get a chance to talk, like immediately respond to you, but we definitely see everything and we definitely discuss everything. And so please comment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Please
let us
comment.
know, man.
You know that I know I make it a joke at the beginning. Comment if you rocking with the content, but comment and let us know. Like, let us know what you guys want us to talk about on this platform specifically. Hold on. It was a
You get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Nice. Some kind of bug?
Yeah, it was a little bug. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad. I've been feeling bad about killing bugs lately. I'm getting to that point.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you know.
I just want to catch. Well, you know what? Because Tony Baker, I was watching Tony Baker the other day. I totally went off.
That's
track
all right.
But I was watching Tony Baker. He was like, man, but they be doing shit out here. You know what I'm saying? I was like, and in my head, I was
so
like,
funny,
yeah, they
dude.
do.
He's
You know what I mean?
hilarious, man.
So, but nah, like, please comment. Let us know, you know, what you guys want us to talk about. And we'll definitely jump on it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we're not going to get too crazy. We're not doing clickbait shit. So, you know, but if it's serious shit going on out there,
right,
let us know.
course.
And we'll definitely jump into it and give our opinion. And you guys talk about, you know, you guys let us know what you guys think about the shit that we talking about right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Are we allowed to talk about the other show that we have coming up, or do we not want to mention that yet?
We do have a show that's coming out.
And it's not our show, by the
It
way.
won't be our show, but I won't say any names yet.
Okay.
Because we're still working on the fine tuning of that, but it will not involve us.
I felt like we need to tease this because I think it's going to be very important. So keep you guys, really wanted to mention that this new show is going to be amazing, and it's not going to be us. So something a little bit different to our channel, right? And I think it's much needed. I think you guys,
a dope show.
I think you guys will thoroughly enjoy what's going to be coming out for this show.
I agree. It won't be us.
It will not be us.
It will not be us at all.
We might make an appearance.
Yeah.
Here and there. We don't know. There's nothing really set in stone in that particular way.
No, but this show's going to be dope.
It will be on our platform.
It's a very dope individual, and it will be on our platform. And I'm hoping we can set something up that'll be on Radio Super.
And I really just wanted to tease that because I think it's just keep in tune with us because I think you guys are gonna really like this show.
I do want to say this before we get out of here. Our shows, our interviews, and the Space Bros will also be on there as well. They premiere on Radio Super, radiosuper.com every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Right now, that would be 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? Because we don't change time in Arizona.
Right.
So, if you are looking to listen to our most recent show, it will be every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Radio Super. That's radiosuper.com. Or you can download the Radio Super app on your Google phone, on whatever.
Samsung, Apple. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Google Play, Apple apps. Go get the app. It's very easy. It's set up very easy for you guys to just log into the app. 7 p.m. every Wednesday, we premiere our latest interview. So when we interview or when we do a show on Saturday and we record it, that audio gets sent to the big bro, TJ Super Hype, and it's on Radio Super every Wednesday. I'm going to say this again, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time right now, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Radio Super, radiosuper.com, or download the Radio Super app.
Hey, before we go,
Yeah.
great promo, by the way.
You like
That's
that?
amazing,
That was
man.
a freestyle, too.
I
man.
love it. Your freestyles are amazing,
I
man. You
appreciate it,
still
man.
got it, man.
I still got bars.
I
huh?
know you got it.
I still
You
got
said
bars.
you said the other day you don't know if you got it. Hey, real quick though, for the Space Bros show, should I wear a hat all the time now?
I feel like you need to.
I feel like I was just thinking about it. I was
Yeah,
like,
you
man,
need a
I think
Space
I
Bros
just
hat.
I just started something,
Yeah.
and there's a reason why I'm wearing a hat, but I was just like thinking, man.
Yeah.
Do 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 do.
Hey, man.
Do 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 do.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Oh, thank you guys so much, man. We really do
send them
appreciate
a
you guys. I hope that comes across as clear as possible. I know
sure.
we say that a lot, but we really do, man. We really do appreciate you guys tuning into our show, man. It means a lot to us, and
Yes, sir.
man, lot of good things coming for the rest of 2020,
Man,
2022, man.
Pull up.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
you guys stay positive and love one another out there, okay?
And we are the Space Bros, man.
There we go.
Peace.